Hey everybody, JJ here, back again with another Wednesday of Zoom networking. And boy, oh boy, do we have a couple of fantastic ladies on the call today. Um, I've happened to have met these young ladies personally. Um, they're out of, God, we're all out of a variety of education groups. I think these gals are probably even in more than one. But since they're speaking about raising capital today, I also know them from Amy Matroy's Raising Private Money Group, and I've met them at one of Amy's seminars. I think one of you, if not both of you, are also in SEB too. Um, but these young ladies started as students. They got in the education programs, became entrepreneurs running their own business. Now they are successful and accomplished businesswomen in real estate, investors, and entrepreneurs. My good friends, Keleisha, Carter, and Betzy Rodas. How you girls doing?
Hey guys, good. Thank you for having us, JJ.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're really good. Thank you. It's awesome. It's not the first time we've been on your calls, but it always feels really nice to be able to come here and see all of you guys.
Well, you two just been doing it. We talked about this the other day. I've just been sitting back watching, and it's just like you're doing this, you're doing that, you're here, you're there. You two have your own podcast, right? You have your own podcast now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have one together and we have we're actually doing stuff separately too. So just the one we have together, we talk about all about raising capital. We say raising capital, investing with purpose because we're purposeful in everything we do.
That's fantastic. Well, let me ask you, for those that don't know you, Kalisha, let me start with you. For those that don't know you, where in the country are you located? And
I'm in
what did you do before you became a real estate investor?
so I'm in Tampa, Florida, and I was working in the service industry. I was managing a restaurant on Martha's Vineyard. And I've been doing that for the past 5 years. And while doing that, I started doing fix and flip. And I realized that I need to pick something. I can't do both, but working 8+ hours a week plus doing that. So I quit my W-2 last year and moved to Florida and decided to give real estate a go.
Wow, that's pretty cool. What about yourself, Betsy? Where are you located, and what did you do before you became an investor?
I'm in Georgia, so I'm like right like an hour above Atlanta, an hour with traffic, so I'm pretty close. And before I was an investor, I've done a lot of off topic jobs. I've been a stay-at-home mom. I'm kind of focused on the family first. Now that the kids are older, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I've done photography too. I have my own photography business. So it was just like real estate. It was no brainer.
Yeah, yeah. The opportunities are endless, and as we'll say, something like 85% of the millionaires in the United States are due to real estate. So with those kind of odds, let's see, we can't jump on in there and get into real estate, become millionaires as well. So it's the way to go. I want to talk about how you two met, but before we get there, which is what, how long have you two been friends? How long ago did you two meet?
Ah,
April,
January?
January. We met. I mean, we didn't talk. We were like, we met in January. Yeah.
But we met, we both did a Keston Gaslow coaching, high performance coaching program. So that's where we really met. And I think it was in March when we were doing an activity in the coaching program. And after that activity that we had to do, we decided, okay, we have something in common. We should work together. So it was actually March when we decided to really work together. And that time we haven't even met each other in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
we
I think
started
we
our
met in
partnership virtually. I think it was April though, like the end of April, where we kind of started talking and seeing everything that we had in common. And we were just like, we can really build something big. And yeah,
6 months, you two just take it off.
Yeah. So
That's
that,
fantastic. No, that's actually, I mean, anyone watching it, that's very inspiring. That's very motivational. I think that's awesome. So,
I think we're used to I think we're all used to just knowing person, but like I'm the type of person I like to plan everything. Like I'm a planner. And I think that time it was just right. It was like, okay, now you just need to stop planning, just do it. Just figure it out. What can you really do? Just dive in.
Yeah, no, that is so true, and it's something we all need to focus on. You know, we plan, we strategize, and Pace says it all the time. Just do it. Just
Take
do
action. Yes.
action. So it's
Actually, Keston said something that I carry with me all the time now. Take um even when you're scared, still take action. So do it scared.
so let me let's go back in time a little bit. I mean, you are successful investors now. You ladies are working with investors. You're raising capital. Um, but we didn't all get started the same way. Now, let me ask you, Keleisha, when you were in your youth, we talk about when we're driving and voting, or in our teen years, getting into our 20s, and getting our ID so we can go out and have a glass of wine or something. Betsy's like, not me, I don't drink. But um, you know, was real estate something that? And I'll ask each of you individually, but here's a question: is real estate something that was exposed to you, Keleisha? Was your mom like an agent? Dad was a contractor? Were you around real estate people? Was it something that maybe after you turned 20, got into your 20s, it became aware to you then? Or were you doing some kind of job that didn't even come to maybe your later 20s? Because you're both right about 20 years old from what I gathered. But uh, what was what was your path from getting into the workforce to getting to real estate? What were you doing? What
So I was born and raised in Jamaica. I moved to the States 6 to 7 years ago. That's when I got here. Real estate was never in the picture. It's not a thing back home. Only the wealthy, you have to be in a certain class to own real estate. I did marketing back home for my degree. So I have a bachelor's in marketing. So I always knew, all right, marketing is going to be my thing. That's what I went to school for. The corporate job that I got, it was doing marketing for an insurance company. And after that, I think I was like, I want something different. When my part of my family moved to the States, and when I got here, I'm like, oh crap, I can't use my marketing degree because a lot of persons didn't accept it because it's not from the US. And I think I was watching while working in the restaurant, I just love watching HGTV. And I was like, I want to do something where I have a passion for it. I don't know what it is. It will either be HGTV or Food Network because it's the only thing that I like doing. And I was like, I like eating the food. I don't want to make it. So that's out of it. So I'll just give HGTV a try. I was like, I like this part of real estate thing. And then I discovered Bigger Pockets. I think a lot of us that are starting from Bigger Pockets. And I just binge watched the videos, the podcasts, going through the forums. And from there, that's how I got in and started networking with people.
And so you've been in the real estate field, you said about 5 years now, is what you said?
Yes. Actually, I wouldn't even put it 5 years. I would put it maybe like 3 or 4 years because I was still figuring out because I had no one that I could go to ask for advice. Everything I was seeing was Bigger Pockets. No one around me knew about anything like that. So it's something I had to figure out myself.
Then did you come through like one of these groups like Astro Flipping or Clever Investors, Sub 2, or what was
So
your
I joined Sub and Amy's program last year. And that's after I quit. And the reason why I joined those is because where I used to live, I wanted to be around people. I got to the point where I no longer wanted to read books, listen to podcasts or anything like that. I wanted to be around people who was doing it. So that's how I decided to join Sub 2 in this program. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever met with just joining those different communities.
completely? Now, Betzy, we know that you were in a lot of trouble in your youth. Cars and airplane. No, what was your youth like? Were you around real estate growing up, Betzy? Was it something?
Well, my dad is a builder. My father-in-law also a builder. My husband also got into doing that. So seeing that has always been around me, but it's always like getting the next bag, it takes so much work. It's just the construction hours are like awful, right? Like for a family, they're off really early. They come back home really late. It's long hours, hard work. And real estate, I was like, well, why can't we be those people who are doing those projects and owning the properties and just building their wealth for their families and generational wealth and just, get financial literacy, and not only in real estate but like in life, and being able to use that as a leverage to be able to invest in real estate. And yeah, for me it was so easy. As soon, we have two kids and we're sole one income household. So when I heard Pace say that you can buy a property with no money, no credit, and I was like, wait, is this real? So like I joined Sub 2 that same week when I found Pace Morby. And I was really lucky that I went that way, because ever since the beginning, I've been using partnerships to be able to get to where I'm at right now. So all the knowledge that I've acquired, all the the properties, but like the properties don't even compare to the knowledge that I've gotten to be where I am right now. And that's only because of partnerships.
That's awesome. And which education groups are you in? Are you in only one? Or are you in more than one?
For
Which
right now, yes, I'm only in Sub 2. I do love Amy though. I do follow her.
Yeah, Amy's amazing. So
Oh,
let's talk,
and also Vina a little bit. Although I'm not doing multifamily right now, but yes. Oh my gosh, I love Vina.
can't leave out Vina Jetty. Of course not.
Yes.
So you're both in sub two. When you got into sub two, I know when I got into sub two, Pace is talking about acquisitions manager, dispositions manager, transaction coordinator, integrator, visionary. Do you all wear the same hats? When you guys got when each of you got into sub two, were you wearing all the hats? Were you? How did you decide which way you wanted to go? Obviously, you've gone the way of finance, funding, and raising money. As opposed, are you? Did you ever do wholesaling? Did you? What's? How did you make that journey?
I think full disclosure, I think before getting into sub two, we all wear the hats without knowing those different avatars. Because when you go in as an entrepreneur, you're doing everything. So when you get into sub two, you're like, oh my God, this world exists. I need to figure out X, Y, Z. And I think when I got into, I think I started doing direct to agent, because I was like, there's no way I'm doing direct to seller. I do not want to talk to sellers, and I do not want to do wholesale. So I did direct to agent. It was tough because I felt like giving up maybe by the first month, because I had agents call me names. Like I have so much stories, text messages, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing it. And I think I went to a meetup and saw Pace, and he was like, why, if you're gonna stop doing something, give it 90 days. Don't give up. Give your all and do it for 90 days. And I was like, okay. And at the end of 90 days, JJ, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. Doing direct to agent is not for me. I don't like talking on the phone. I do not like cold calling. But I think in the back of my head, I knew I should be raising private capital, but there was self-doubt and there was a whole lot of internal personal issues where I was doubting myself that that's not even possible. So I put that on the burner and just did something instead. But it ended up that I had to go back to capital raising. And I think the moment I decided to really focus on that, like the opportunities that, as Bessie said, like with partnerships, the opportunities that started aligning, it just all connected.
Yeah.
Very cool. So now, did you ever become faced with those decisions yourself as well, Betsy? Were you looking at like, how do I wear all the hats, or was it just a given that you were gonna focus right in on funding?
Yeah, well, I came in and I was like, I need to know where I fit, right? I'm not the type of person to take everything all in. I get a little overwhelmed. So I know that about myself. And I was like, okay, let me see where I fit best. So I did like a little bit of everything just to try it out and see where I fit best. And actually started with acquisitions. I got in I got my first deal like the first week being in sub two, because I also can't like also say like I need to be doing something towards my goal. And I was calling, it was like my second call, really. I called a property on eBay that I found, and I found a very motivated seller. Um, the I was like, I don't know how to close this. I don't know how to talk to them. I actually even forgot to ask them for their name. And yeah, I just took it to another sub two student that I had already met, and we were like creating a relationship. And ever since then, I joined her acquisitions team. So it was like, okay, let's just learn how this process goes. So I was working with her, calling sellers, which I do not love. I still don't love it. I knew that I don't love it, but I was like, this is a good place for me to be right now to learn all the aspects of real estate. And it gave me a really good foundation.
Again, how did you guys become aware of it? Was it through sub two? Is that you're both in sub two? That was without the platform that kind of brought you to
Keston's mentorship. We were in the high
that?
performance
Okay.
mentorship.
That's
Yeah, so we were
What was
kind of doing internal work.
I don't, do you remember what activity that was it a goal setting session?
I don't
I
really
don't,
remember. I know he said like you guys need to connect somehow. And I was like, this is perfect. I need to reach out. I looked at you and I looked at Juan, and I was just like, I sent you guys both messages.
no, it was insane because I think one of those activities too, he was like, what is it that you guys really want to do? Like, what is it? So he kind of helped us to narrow down our goals. And we all had to share our goals on that call. So that kind of helped us to like figure out, okay, who is it that we're going to work with? So it's right after that call, Betzy and I got on that call because that call, it gives us so much clarity what we want, what we should focus on for our goals and just hone in on it. And then we just connected after that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So, your topic today is the power of partnerships and raising capital. So let's jump into that. And again, if you guys are on the calls, we move forward, feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. But the power of partnerships and raising capital. So now we always say, I always say it's commonly known to some extent, you can't do this by yourself. We need to work with other people. But how did you come about to, what's your perspective of partnerships, and is it using partnerships to raise capital, or are they two different aspects of real estate you want to talk about?
So I would talk, we'll talk about both because we all do both. We do for real estate. We also do it with raising capital. But I would say it's, how do we put this now? Honestly, it's just figuring out what is it that you want. Let's use this. If your skill is negotiating and you know that in order for you to close more deals, you need leads, find a partner who's good with generating leads. Because if you go in a partnership where both persons are good with closing deals, then who's doing finding the leads? So I think most of the partnerships that I've been in, especially with Betzy, it's figuring out who's bringing what to the table. And you have to have those tough conversations before you go into partnership with anyone. Everyone always talks about, let's do a JV together. Okay. But what are you bringing to the table? And a lot of persons are still afraid to ask that question because some may think it's important. Some persons may think that, oh, I just really want to get my first deal. No. What are you really bringing to the table to this partnership? Because if you're not clear with that, it's going to be hiccup and you're going to be unhappy or you're going to be doing a whole different thing. So I think with us, when we started, I was like, I want to raise capital. This is what I want to do, blah, blah, but I know I need systems. I need someone to help me with the system so I can talk to more private money lenders. Betzy came in. She's like, hey, I got you. I can help you with that. I'm like, bingo. That when we did that, she didn't come where, oh my God, we got to do a JV agreement. We need to do an LLC. No, she was like, this is what I can help with. And I'm like, perfect. Let's try it. Let's test it out and see what happens.
Yeah. Defining goals, roles, not goals.
Somebody mentioned recently, and I don't know, it could have been Pace, but something about dating first. And then joint venturing, getting business together. There's a short acclimation period to make sure things work. It's progressive. You don't meet someone to get married right away. You date a while, you kind of promise ring, get engaged, plan a wedding. It's all progressive. So you guys find that partnerships are of a similar nature?
I think so. I mean, like you definitely have to date. And I think you have to date because you guys can both go in and it's like, you're good at this and you're good at that, but things start changing. But I think a lot has to do it when things are changing, you start having those conversations as well for you guys to get better at that partnership. So it's not like you define the roles at the beginning and that's it. It's like constantly checking in. How's this going? Okay, damn, our goals have changed. We need to evolve. All right, now that the goals have changed, what do we need to do? What is going to be our roles to reach that goal? Because at some point, maybe everyone's goal is going to like still go separate ways, or it can go where you guys continue to go together. But you guys always have to be doing those check-ins. Like those check-ins are crucial.
Yeah, to make sure that the vision is still there, that you guys still have the same vision.
Mr. Ryan McDermott, you are on with Keleisha and Betzy. What's your question?
What's up, ladies? How are you?
Hey.
How are you?
Very good. So you answered my question to a degree. But I guess another question I have is, what does a day-to-day look like for you guys? And how are you guys sourcing deals? I know you mentioned there was partnerships, and what a deal structure would look like when you maybe have a strategic alliance with another acquisition person.
It's funny, we get that question a lot. Day to day is always changing, put it that way. And this is where it goes back to the goals. So we do this thing where we will check in like every Monday, or we started off when we just got in, we would have capital raising hour. And that will be locked into our calendar. That is us raising capital, or we're having meetings, checking in with each other. So every Monday and Tuesday, whatever it is. And we review those roles. And it's always changing. As it relates to leads, for example, because it's capital raising hours, we need to start marketing. So during that time, we're marketing looking for deals. That includes sharing a current deal we're raising capital for on social media. That includes going into different Facebook groups, looking for different private money lenders. It varies. As it relates to structuring, this is very vague, but it's really going to depend on the deal. And the reason why I say that is because you're going to try to come up with a scenario based on hypothetical numbers. You don't even know what the numbers are. It's like when persons ask, okay, what interest rate should I get? Maybe you said 10%. Maybe someone come in, oh, I will do this deal, but I want 15%. But your numbers won't allow you to give that lender 15%. You can only do maybe a max 10 or 12%. As it relates to if you should give that lender equity, you got to be able to figure out from that lender as well, hey, what is your end goal? It's not about you anymore. We always ask our lenders that, what is your end goal? What are you looking to do? Because if their goals is not aligned with ours, hey, we're not a good fit. I may have to introduce you to someone else.
Mr. Giles Frederick, you are on with Keleisha and Betzy. What's your question?
My question is, I have capital that I want to loan out. What is your structure as far as, how do you come to a private, well, I'm not a private lender yet. I'm still working on that process, but I have capital I want to sort of kind of loan out. So how do we, and just tell me a little bit about your structure. How do you guys guaranteed not guaranteed, but guaranteed that money is safe in a certain pool of monies and not being in a personal bank account or something like that? Pretty much just structure. Can you explain that to me, please?
Okay, so I want to start this question. Yeah. So when we talk to a lender, the first thing that we tell them is like, hey, I want to know what your dreams are. What are your goals? What are your personal, if you want to invest in real estate, how do you want to invest in real estate? That's really important to define. If you don't know that, that's totally okay. And that's something that we will figure out together. But it's something that we need to definitely define. We want you to feel secure, and that comes into the plan of your vision for your life. Like That's really how it goes. So it depends if how you're investing it, where you're investing it from. So like what accounts you're using, if it's to retire, if it's from a savings that you like are putting money in and out. How is that gonna implicate you on the taxes? Like we would walk you through all of that and ask you is how all of that is working. How are you working with all of that information? So it really we'd have like in-depth conversations and show you projects that we've worked on before so that you could see, hey, like I like this structure. This looks like a pretty good structure for me, or I prefer equity, or I prefer interest, or I want to be a longtime partner. I want to actually be a little bit involved in the projects. It just depends, right? It totally depends. The way we protect your funds are, of course, a promissory note and a deed of trust or mortgage, depending on the state. But you can also be protected in other ways. You can be in the insurance, and you can do an LLC. So there's very different ways. It just depends on the project.
And a big thing too is you have to, is it Giles? How do I pronounce it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Giles?
correct. Yeah.
Because you're completely new, you are responsible for as well for educating yourself. We tell this for all our private money lenders. We will guide you every step, like from the beginning to the end. We will educate you. Now it's your responsibility to take that education and go verify. Continue to do some more research because you don't want to go land on a deal. This is something I've been having conversation with other private money lenders. They've lent money on deals and they're not even protected.
No, my question is, I have capital to invest and I know exactly what I want to do with it. I'm looking more for a management site. You put the money into a pool that is well defined, like you guys are, right? So
Like
that's what I'm referring to.
So like a fund.
Yes, like a fund. Yeah. So it goes into a pool and you guys manage it accordingly. That's what I'm getting at. So I'm not good at that part of it. My thing is pretty much, the buy and hold guy and long term. That I'm good with that. But I have some extra capital, and I know you can put it in a pool of funds that can be managed by a group, and that's pretty much my question.
Oh yeah, that's different.
So I know there are other. Go ahead, sir. JJ.
I was going to jump in on that as well. Is that there are funds. Some funds are quite large, and monies go into, as you say, a pool, but they're not really used for a particular project. There are other types of investments that would be literally a one and done, or for one project, one house, one multifamily investor. And I'll let you girls run with this.
Keleisha actually has a fund, so she does have experience with this.
Yeah, that was my 2 cents about kind of hitting a loop. But the other part of it is just the single family home. I need a lender for this one deal. And of course, girls, I want to ask you, there are first position, second position. So how might that work for Giles as well, going into maybe not a fund, but going into an individual project? What's the difference on his protection being in first position or second position?
So I know, like, if he doesn't go in a fund itself and he wants to be completely hands off, because we have lenders just like that. If they want to leave their money and benefit from the cash flow, then ideally an equity position will be perfect for that. You create an LLC, you're a silent partner, and that investor is responsible for everything. And every month they're just sending you money. That's it. And you're completely hands off. You don't know what, they don't ask you permission on what's going on. It wouldn't work for you maybe to lend for 6 or 12 months because you're looking for something to park your capital in. So anything where you can do equity split, then that will be ideal. When you go into a fund as well, they now have to follow SEC regulations. Like, are you accredited? And then what makes you an accredited investor? This now it's more, there's a whole lot more legality involved with it. But I know there are other like well-known sub-2 persons as well who have a fund with like Vina, and they have all the different criteria. It's just that you have to go through a strict qualification process to invest in those funds.
Yeah, and it's not it is a little ruthless. Like it is a work to be able to qualify. But if you are talking to an attorney, you should be okay. They should walk you through that.
Does that answer your question, Giles? You go with that?
Yeah, I'm good for now. I'm just still trying to digest the process. So that's good for now. Thank you.
You have a lot of options, which is good.
Okay.
There you go. And Giles, thank you for coming on today. And I'd like to catch up with you sometime as well. We have Irene with us. Irene, you're on with Betzy and Keleisha. What's your question?
First of all, thank you, JJ, for organizing it. And Keleisha and Betzy, it's awesome to see ladies killing it in real estate. So thank you, being awesome. My question is that when you start getting your first deal or second deal and raising private capital, that's where you haven't got much portfolio to showcase and show your credibility. So how do you establish that when reaching out to lenders?
So they always say like anyone could be a private money lender. There's no like role that the perfect scenario. When I started, I raised private capital from friends and family. And the only way I raised capital is because I told them what I was doing. Hey, I want to get into real estate. Okay, they don't have a clue. And I started going in. We want to do some fix and flip. We want to buy the project, fix it up, blah, blah, blah. We had no clue about raising money. But we were just telling persons, this is the plan that we want to do. And then even after you're going to get your first deal, you use a traditional route and all of that. Keep telling people this is what I'm doing. You're not talking about I'm raising money, I'm looking for a private money lender. Because keep in mind, persons who can be private money lenders doesn't even know what that term means. So and sometimes they're sitting on capital and they don't have a clue that they can invest. But I was having a conversation with someone today, giving them a pitch, talking to someone new. Hey, I'm buying a lot of rental properties, and what I'm doing is just partnering with persons who have the capital. Wait for the person to respond. What do you mean? Well, you have persons who have capital, but they don't have the time to go and find deals, or maybe they love their W-2 job, but they have maybe $20,000, $30,000 that they could invest in. So I partner with persons with that amount in real estate. You are now showing I didn't mention being a private money lender. You're given an example stating the number, 20, 30,000. So it ring a bell. Oh, wait, I am sitting on $30,000. Oh, I love my W-2. Tell me more. You're planting seeds. You're not looking for a private money lender at all. You want to tell them there's an option for you to get into real estate without doing it the traditional route, without having $100,000 sitting on. Because $30,000 can do a lot.
Yeah. And then also, I think that, at the beginning when you feel like you don't have any credibility because you haven't done a project before, and it's okay to be honest and tell them that, like, hey, this is going to be my first project, but here are my numbers to back up that it's going to be okay. And if you want, partner with me on it. Like, give them ownership of the deal with you. It's okay to share the wealth. It's okay for you to come out with a little bit less out of your pocket just to get that first deal and get that credibility started. After that first one, they'll start rolling in. I think that is something that stops a lot of people, that they're like, oh my gosh, I've never done anything like this before. Like, how am I going to go up to you and ask you for money if I've never done this before? Definitely, like, just come out of it with value. Know that your deal is good and you have your numbers good and that it's strong, and just give them the option to partner up with you. A lot of lenders, you'll see that when you're honest with them and you tell them, like, hey, this is what's going on, this is the deal, I really haven't done anything like this before, but I'm positive I can get this accomplished. And you can even give them a personal guarantee, or you can put in whatever you want to make it look better on them. But yeah, I would say just be honest and try to just come with value.
I want to piggyback on what Betzy said to Irene, because when you're completely new as well and you have that deal, you're not doing all the work. Leverage your team. Who is your contractor? Who is your underwriter? who is that person that is giving you advice? Because there must be someone that you're going to help you underwrite the deal. Guys, here's my team. I have for example, if you're doing a short-term rental, I have an interior designer. I'm not good with design, but I have an interior designer with expertise with this, so they know to make sure the design the property so it's eye-catching and we can get more bookings. Always leverage your team as well. So if you put the deck together, I have no experience in contractor work. I have no experience. But this builder here, this contractor has done 10 renovations, and here's a picture of some of his work that he has done, and I'm working with him. Here's his track record of references. So you can leverage your team as well.
Irene, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And I'm curious that do you have any, so based on past experience that you, at this point, you have already partnered with different lenders, or PML or PMP, was there any big lesson learned in terms of like after you acquire the property, that certain issues arise?
The numbers, whatever you put in your underwriting is just an estimate. It can look so good on paper, but when you go in, I think because right now we're talking about it today, we're doing a project in Atlanta that we're going to do for short-term rental. We raised funds for it. And then we found out that we're going to need way more money than we thought. And we just have to go back and reposition and raise capital for it. It's just that now when we're raising capital, we have to be honest. Hey, we already closed on this deal. This is the amount of money we raised, but we need more money, and here's why. And I think for us too, we're not afraid of sharing our numbers. So a lot of persons are always afraid to show how much money they're going to make. We will give you like a screenshot of the Excel sheet. So you see every single thing. Look at this. We're paying you even if we're not making any money, but you're getting paid.
And then sometimes it's important to tell them that, like, hey, this is the worst case scenario that we're showing you, because lenders care, most of them. That if they see your numbers and they say you're not making anything, they'll be like, hey, your numbers, you're not making anything. So we have to go back and be like, yes, this is the worst case scenario. If everything goes bad, we don't cash flow like we're supposed to cash flow, you're still getting paid. And that's what matters to us.
Bringing Giles back in. Giles, Frederick, you are on with Betzy and Keleisha. What's your question?
I think she answered it in that last statement as far as the underwriting process that you guys, because that's very important. And you guys secured the property as collateral, right? I think they answered both of my questions. Sorry, I still had my hand up. And you mentioned, you also mentioned it might be an overreach. I mean, you go over the budget, right? So how do you fix that? I mean, if I'm gonna get paid, you're not gonna get paid. Is that common for you guys? Because I think Betzy, you said, I don't know, you said that's a common thing or what? I mean,
that there's a lot of lessons learned.
Okay. And my last question. So you guys are raising capital for your projects, not necessarily raising capital to, for other. If I came to you guys and say, hey, look, I need capital. So it's just pretty much for your projects that you're raising capital?
No, do it for others as well. At the beginning, we used to do it for. At the beginning, we go in doing it for others, then we stop. And one of the reasons why we stopped is that we weren't able to qualify borrowers, like to see what their experience is. We don't know if they're lying, no references and all of that. So we kind of paused, put our system in place. Now we're raising capital for others as well, but we just ensure that we kind of do our background check on the person as well. We have teams that underwrite those deals as well to make sure that they're legit first. And if they're good for underwriters, like, hey, this deal is approved, then we do our background on that person who we're raising capital for. So we do our own little.
Okay. So have you ever had a project, I mean, like just everything just turned upside down. It went to foreclosure and all of that kind of stuff. Like, hey, look, that person couldn't. So none of that experience so far.
But we recently had a project we raised capital for in February. And this money was a sub-2 and it was tied up in escrow. And this is why everything that we do is through escrow. Mm-hmm. had the property from February, and that lender's fund, it was coming from their retirement account, been in escrow since January, and they just got it out in August.
Oh, wow.
So that
Yeah.
time we had to be paying for mortgage and everything out of our pocket.
Mhm.
And that was an equity deal. So we're still sending the lender funds each month, even though they're an equity partner. We're like, hey, we're just going to give you something each month. Funds are in escrow. We can't take it out because the seller wanted to back out and file bankruptcy and all that stuff. And we're like, you know what? Your money's in escrow. We're just going to leave it. And we just agree that by a certain time, if the seller doesn't decide to sell or something like that, we'll just ask title to release your funds back to you.
Yeah. So we learn. I feel like we learn every time that we go through a new project. There's always, I feel like that's the life of an investor or of an entrepreneur. You're always learning with every new thing that you do. Every case, we find out that every case is kind of different. We don't have two that are like the same. So everything we always take into account and make sure that we have our lessons learned, because that way next time we know how to do it better and how to overcome things much quicker.
Mr. Mark Prestwood, you are on with Keleisha and Betzy. What's your question?
When you guys talked about the accredited investors and the 506 funds, I mean, being safe on social media, especially raising funds like that, you can get in trouble. So you do have to be careful, I think. Yeah.
So I think we did an interview with an SEC attorney, Nick McGrew, and he guides us in terms of what you can and cannot do. And the good thing is that for us, when we advertise on social media, we'll say we have an investment opportunity, and we don't share the details. Like if you need more info, then reach out to us. If you post it on on Facebook as well, you're assuming that everyone is on your friends list. You guys have the SEC considers it to be like a first line of relationship or something like that. But if your Facebook is super open, then you're not putting yourself at risk. But we tend to not put the numbers or whatever is it that we're looking for, just this, hey, and that's why most of our things are always in like a pitch deck or a flyer or something like that. And we send it out by email, because that means there is the first basis of a relationship that already exists.
Right. Yeah. They opted into your basically your lead capture and stuff. So they're interested, and then you can qualify them along the road. Now that you mentioned pitch deck, that's very interesting. What kind of things would you recommend in a pitch deck? Because I had actually put together something like that. Some key elements.
Well, we go in depth on it. We have also an episode that we go in depth on it there. You can watch it. We could literally talk about this for an hour. But you know, general property overview, good breakdown, good how you're going to pay the money lender back, what are your terms, and you know, about you. And I think that's like the general super.
And there's no like specific headings, like we always try to like ask ourselves, if we don't know anything about investing, what would our lenders like to see? We're not an investor, we're not going to fluff. If they're completely new, they should be able to understand what's in that deck. And if they're not, and you're not going to kill them with all the data, but if they're understanding to some extent, then and they're interested, they'll give you a call as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to give them the appetizer so that they can come to schedule a meeting or whatever, and then you could get really serious about the details and nitty gritty and stuff. That's where the relationships are, right?
Exactly.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thank you both for showing up on JJ's call. JJ, you're awesome as always, my brother, bringing the whole family together here and just adding value always.
Thank you so much, my friend. Really appreciate you. Girls, you used a phrase there. We have people on the call that are very experienced in real estate, and some are very new. People be watching this on YouTube. Some are very experienced and some are very new. For those that are new, what is a pitch deck in relation to a real estate transaction?
Okay. So a real estate you said a real estate transactions, right?
I refer to a pitch deck, having a pitch deck.
What's a pitch deck?
So a pitch deck would be just a breakdown of a deal that you have. And a breakdown will be given maybe a bio of who you are, What's your track record or your experience? Let lenders know who you are. Then you dive in and be like, okay, this is a property. You give the fluff. Oh, this is a 3-bed, 2-bath. It's a property overview. And no one cares about if it was a freshly decorated, this extra. No.
Not the real estate jargon.
Yeah, like
Real
what
estate
was the
easy.
year and bath count? And then once you do that, what else is there? I think you explain the property overview, then you go in details in terms of how are you planning to acquire this property, right? Is it cash? Is it, and if it's cash or hard money? If you have hard money, do you have a hard money lender in place? How much are they funding? That's it. Is it 70%, 75%? If you're acquiring this property, seller financing or subject to, yes, state what are the terms? What is the mortgage balance? What is the PITI? Fine, you're finished with that. What is the exit strategy? And always, we always ensure that there's 2 exit strategies at all times. And then once you state the 2 exit strategies, you continue, maybe give a little extra. Let's say the exit strategy is a fix and flip. You start giving details about the area because you're helping that private money lender to make a decision and they don't have to go and do a whole research by themselves. Give them data about that area. Why is it that they should invest in that area? When you complete with that, I think you give comparables if needed, depends again on your exit strategy. If not, you end it with, here's the next step, or this is how much money I'm asking for. This is how long I need it. And this is how your money will be protected, insured, and secured. If you need more info, here's my contact, and that's it.
Now, when one presents a pitch deck, are they generally shorter, longer, 2 pages, 3 pages, 7 pages, 10 pages? Is there no standard? It varies on deal to deal.
It's no standard, but you also want to provide the most information in the most like tactical way. You want to be very, very specific, but also like, this is straight to the point. This is what we're doing. This is it. And like clarity all the way. So,
Really?
yeah, I think ours are like eight pages, maybe.
Wow.
Six to 8. Just because there's a title page. If you include the title page and the
there's a disclaimer page, there's a thank you page. And I've seen like person's pitch deck where it's like 2 pages. And then that's fine. And also because our pitch deck, is this horizontal?
Yeah.
No, this is.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, ours is horizontal. Some person's pitch deck will be 2 pages, but it's vertical and it has all the info on it. But for us, we just already have templates. So we just go in and plug in the info as well to put everything in there. So and I think even if a lot of persons are worried about, oh, I'm not that creative or I can't design, guys, everything we do is on Canva. We go on Canva and find all those different templates and just plug things in and just make it our own. So you don't even have to change any of the design. Just put the headings in there and then put your info and your picture, and then you keep tweaking the pitch deck as you go along.
Cool.
Yeah. Or you can buy a template from someone. Like, if you don't want to do it yourself.
Kelly Basham, you are on with Keleisha and Betzy. What's your question?
When you guys are raising your funds, is there a different approach you go to raising funds for, let's say, a multifamily and say a multifamily project to a commercial project? Is there different approaches you guys go at when you start raising your funds for each one?
So you want to do the single family and I'll touch on the fund? Did
you say multifamily?
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say, Keleisha, after that?
If you're going to raise funds for, say, a 400-door project, in a multifamily, but then you got another project you want to raise funds for, let's say a commercial project, be a commercial business. What is there different patterns you guys would go at to approach to raise those funds, or would you attack them both with a pitch deck and say, hey, this is what we got, this is what we got going on, this is what we're looking for, this is your out, and all that? Or is there different ways you guys would attack that?
I would say, and I'm gonna spill some beans here for things that I'm learning in a different mastermind about funds. You still do a pitch deck, but what I'm learning is the pitch deck, it has completely different headings. It's the same headings that you would do for anything. What's the market condition? What's the problem? What's the solution? So I think if you Google like pitch decks for funds, for example, it will show you the different headlines to have. But what I'm learning is you're using the same strategy, but it's a different approach, meaning it's all going to be about relationship. It's just relationship on a larger scale. Now, if you want to raise $10 million, are you going to go to mom and pop who can only invest $50,000? No. You need to figure out anyone who is okay with investing $100,000, $200,000. What kind of work are they doing? Where can I find them? So those are the questions you start asking. ChatGPT gives you a lot of those answers too. Going to your local meetups to be like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. Do you know anyone who might be interested in doing something like this? You now are targeting a different caliber of people. So you now need to be surrounding yourself and be strategic as well for events that you're attending. A little secret. When you start raising 10 million, you're no longer going to a real estate conference. You're now going to maybe a conference where you're going to find a bunch of attorneys. You're now going to conferences where doctors are at. You're finding your local bar association and start connecting with those people. You're not going golfing. I just started going golfing because I'm doing a $10 million fund. And I got to go to golfing because I joined my local chamber of commerce. And because I'm a part of my local chamber of commerce, they now invite me to certain events that I would never on my own decide to attend. So it's just that your approach, you're more strategic, still comes down to relationships, but you're now surrounding yourself like, how can I find people who's okay losing? That's how we're taught. Losing 100,000 and still go on with their lives.
Keleisha, let me ask you, so now do you have your own golf shoes?
No, I was told not to get golf shoes or the clubs, but I have another one on Saturday and I have more classes. After that, I can get my golf set, but I have my golf outfit. It's good. It's really good.
Did they tell you not to get golf shoes just so to make sure you really enjoy the game?
Yeah, I think, part of it eventually when you really get into it, obviously you'll need the right comfortable shoes if you're going to go consistently. And as you ladies know, shoes make the outfit.
Yeah.
Keleisha's like, right?
Okay.
I went there and asked the organizer, I was like, what should I wear? He's like, when I got there, he's like, I thought you were completely new to golf. And I was like, thanks to Google and TJ Maxx, I went and found examples and went straight to TJ Maxx for an outfit. I'm gonna show up.
There you go. Hey, girls, I really want to thank you for being here. We can go on for hours and hours. Just dropping gold nuggets. Thank you for sharing your experience and your journey. And your journey is only going to continue. You're only going to continue to be more and more successful. I hope we can have you girls back again in the future. Another topic. Just to catch up later with the adventures of Keleisha and Betzy, to see where you both are headed. I wanted to ask you, people want to follow up with you. They have questions about your business. Now, do you guys have a website together? You have your individual YouTubes and a tandem YouTube, correct?
Yeah. Well, we have our podcast that you guys can find us at Kells and Betzy, Kellz, the letter N, and then Betzy, Betzy, Betzy with a Z. And you guys can follow us on Instagram. I think we really enjoy Instagram. We post there a lot. Keleisha is just her name, Keleisha Carter. And Betzy, it's _ then Betzy Rodas for me. Yeah, I think we have our own websites. Keleisha just launched hers, which looks awesome. You guys should check it out. It's KeleishaCarter.com and then BetzyRodas.com too. You can check me out there.
Last question is, my group's a networking group. I talk about the importance of networking all the time. After a while, I can get to be a bit of a talking head, same thing all over again. But for you two who've been just so successful in such a short period of time, I mean, matter of months, not even a year, now you two are teamed up and you're successful investors and You're doing all kind of crazy deals all around the country. In your opinion, now every educational platform, whether it's Amy Majoy's raising private money, Pace Morby Sub 2, Jamil Damji's Astro Flipping, we have people coming to the education world of real estate, which each platform has a set Facebook community for their membership. We have brand new people coming in. We have experienced people coming in that are delving into social media for the first time from a business real estate standpoint. For these people coming in, the new investor, whether they have experience or not, but new to social media, what is the importance of networking to the success of someone's business? And what is the importance of possibly joining a group like mine that even focuses on networking? What is the importance of that to the success of any investor's business? Betzy, last first.
Yeah, I think we spoke about this at the beginning, right? We talked a lot about building partnerships. I know Keleisha 10x'd her business when she joined Amy Majori's her mentorship, and then Sub 2. Me too. I literally joined Sub 2 and started making partnerships with people, right? So I think it's super important. Also, not to focus only in business, but also your life. We were both in Keston's mentorship. We did his high performance mentorship. And I think it's really important to start, maybe not start, if you want to start there, that's really good, but to also focus on building yourself up as a person, breaking those paradigms so that you can be even more successful in your business.
And I think too, it's like, this is why, this is sorry to go a little bit sidetracked, JJ. In our business relationship, Betzy is always that person to be like nurturing, and I'm like, dive in right now. So that kind of helps us to like balance each other out. But to add to what she's saying, you may not have to be outspoken or have fancy equipment or to do video or a large following. But simply, if you're stuck on something and you go in those different groups and you just simply make one post, guys, I'm stuck here. How do you do this? Or here's my win today. Or I made this mistake and I'm trying to figure it out. Or this is how I overcame an obstacle. What happened is you start being active. So a couple months, lenders, they're going to do their research on it. And they're going to see months and weeks in advance that, oh, this person is not completely new. This is their journey. They had this hiccup. They overcame this. It's those simple little things that you don't even have to have done a deal yet. But simply being on this Zoom as well. And I tell people they underestimate being on real estate Zooms, like anything like this. Take a picture and post it. You turn around, you do a selfie and you post, here I was in JJ's Zoom learning about XYZ, and you post it. That is it. At least people know you are putting in the time and effort in a space that you want to raise money for, or to say you're an expert or build your credibility in. So it's just, we overthink what we should post, put it that way, and we shouldn't, because everyone has something to share to their specific audience.
Yeah, no, that was so well said, and you hit so many points there. For me, my little summary is I always talk about don't chase the deal, chase a relationship.
Exactly.
Build your network before you need it, and it's also so very important. And I sincerely appreciate both of you for being here today. Hope you guys had fun. I had a blast. I think we had a number of good questions. You guys shared some serious gold nuggets. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming up down the road for you two, because you're just killing it. You're all over the place. So again, thank you so much. If you guys are watching on YouTube right now, watching the recording, please like Keleisha and Betzy's video. Please put something in the comments what your takeaways were. If you're on the call right now, for the video in the future, please support the call. You can get a hold of the girls through their Instagram and their Facebook. And you can reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with them. If you want to get a hold of me or join my group, it's jjazizian.com. It's AZIZIAN. Should be out there somewhere. And just hit the little register now button on my website. Look for more videos coming up with more fantastic speakers from Flipside Up with JJ. And girls, I guess we say goodbye to them now. We'll see them down the road, right? See you guys.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us.